People across the country are fed up, and it's not a Republican or Democrat issue. It's an American issue. Yesterday, we talked to a man from Vermont whose group wants to secede from the country, and they're far, far left. Today, we head to Texas. But first, we decided to go to the streets of New York City to see if people even knew what the heck we were even talking about.
Secession, like a state would secede from the Union.
Do you think that there's any state that would secede from the Union?
Yes.
Which one?
Maybe New Hampshire.
States like Vermont. That would be Texas. Texas. Vermont.
Texas.
California. Do you think that there's a state that would leave the Union?
Absolutely not.
Would you ever want to leave the Union?
No. No. I love the United States. I want it to be together in America.
But either way, get your musket. Let's go.
Well, you know, the New York Times has blamed me and Bill O'Reilly several times. You were ripping this country apart. Really? I love it all together. I think we should just really maybe, you know, link with common sense. But I wanted to show you that there are people that disagree with each other and disagree with me vehemently all across the country that are actually trying to secede. In Houston, Daniel Miller, he is the president of Texas Nationalist Movement, is pushing for Texas independence. Are you, I'm just assuming that you're on the right.
Well, you know, one of the things that we in the Texas Nationalist Movement do is we reject those labels of right and left. I mean, I saw you on your program. Hey, I saw you on your program, Glenn, reject right and left and talk about it's all about larger government versus smaller government.
So you're smaller government.
Yes, definitely.
So it would be, did you see the show last night with the guy from, where was he, from Vermont or from New Hampshire?
Sure.
Yeah. And he says the same thing. Do you think that, like he did, that America is unrepairable?
Well, I think definitely the federal government is irreparable. I mean, you know, I look back at my history and my involvement and my engagement in politics and engagement in the political system as a whole. And I've done everything I can since the time I was at the age of 18 to protect the Constitution and the rights that it upholds. And what we're seeing here is a federal government that has spun wildly out of control, and this is not a recent phenomenon. This has been going on for quite some time.
Oh, I know, 100
Here
years.
in Texas, we feel it.
Yeah.
In areas where they don't need to be active, they act too much, and in areas where they are supposed to act, they fail miserably.
Can we just go back to the big, can you go back to the video of the big bloody arm? People from Texas, I love you to death. The flag with the big bloody arm, you got to stop sending to me because they don't understand it up here in the north. They don't get it. It puts me on watch lists. Daniel, are you anti-government?
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Our position may put us against what the federal government wants, but we are pro-good government, which apparently is something that's lacking in Washington, D.C. now.
Are you? How big is your movement?
Well, over the course of our lifespan, you know, we've been around since the tail end of 1995. We've had over 250,000 people in and out of our organization at various times. So, you know, we have what I would consider a fairly broad base of support, probably more than any other secession movement in the United States.
Okay. More with Daniel after the break from Texas. Hang on. Back again, we have Daniel Miller. He's the president of the Texas Nationalist Movement, which wants independence for Texas. And Daniel, I gotta go back to the question where I asked you, you know, how many members do you have? And you say, in and out, we've had what, 250,000? Is that right?
Yeah, slightly over a quarter of a million at last count.
All right, let me. There's no offense here, but I have to ask you. When you say, you know, hey, over the years we've had them come in and out, are they coming and then they come one time and they're like, oh, no, I can't join that, and then they leave? I mean, how many current members do you have?
Well, based on the forms that we have on, our paid memberships, our affiliate memberships, we push over 250,000 as we speak right now.
Okay. Now, are you a group of, I mean, because I can't imagine that the federal government is going to go, Texas. I mean, you guys are the only successful state in the union, almost. I can't imagine they're just going to say, Texas, go ahead. They're not going to let you secede.
Well, I would disagree with that. I mean, for those out there who believe that the federal government is going to hang on to us, I would say look at it. The very fact that you're saying that plays very well into the fact that Texas is like an abused spouse. You would never go to an abused wife, Glenn, and say, I'm sorry, I'm afraid you can't leave because I'm afraid your husband will beat you. It's morally reprehensible to say something like that. But the fact of the matter is that's where we are. We want a divorce, Glenn. We want to be divorced from the United States federal government.
Here's what, and I've had this discussion off air with several scholars, because the Constitution somehow or another has become a suicide pact, where you can't get out of the, once you join the Union, you can't get out, which it leaves no place for a threat to the federal government. You know, once you're in, you're always in. It's, you know, that's Hotel California. No thanks. Where are you reading that, I mean, the Civil War, they say, solved that. Where are you reading that you can just leave?
Well, I mean, you're obviously a friend and a colleague of Judge Napolitano. Yeah. Judge Napolitano can answer that question for you very easily, where the right to secede pre-existed the Constitution. It's why they never spelled it out. I mean, who would ever enter into some sort of contract that said when one of the parties broke the contract, that the contract was still in force and you had to live under that abuse? No one. So no one would ever make that argument and maintain any intellectual honesty whatsoever.
You actually, we only have 30 seconds, so we have to go quick. You actually believe the Tea Parties are the gateway drug to secession. Is that true?
Well, I think that's definitely the case for a lot of folks, because you know, the Tea Parties have been about venting frustration and anger with what's going on in Washington, D.C. And what we're seeing here is people are looking for solutions, and the solution for Texas is Texas independence.
Unbelievable. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll be back.
Hey,
you bet. Back in a minute.
I'm not a crook.